Hello and thank you for tuning in to Millennium Movies. Today's video, I'm going to be breaking down all the Easter eggs in the brand new trailer for Stephen King's Castle Rock, a TV series adaptation that is going to be coming to Hulu later this month. So first, I want to start with the characters. Now, our first character is Henry Deaver, who's played by Andre Holland, and he is our protagonist. He is a death row attorney who hasn't returned to his hometown since the townspeople turned on him after an accident of which he has no memory of that killed his father and left him as the sole suspect. So he is our main character. He is coming back and he's trying to uncover some of these secrets that this town of Castle Rock is holding, and he's going to be the one that we're going to be seeing the most of in this series. So yeah, that's all I can say for him. Don't know much about him other than that he is a character specifically created for Castle Rock. Moving on from him, we have his son, Wendell Deaver. Don't know much about his son's character, but I can tell you that he's played by Chosen Jacobs, who you probably better remember as Mike Hanlon from Derry. He played Mike Hanlon in the recent adaptation of Stephen King's It, and Chapter 1, that is, and he's also going to be coming back for Chapter 2 to play Mike again in some flashback scenes. So I very much liked his character and his portrayal of Mike in Stephen King's It, so cannot wait to see more from him. But he is not the only character from It that we have in Castle Rock, because Bill Skarsgård, aka Pennywise himself, is set to play the Kid, a mysterious feral inmate discovered in a cage deep beneath Shawshank State Penitentiary. So yes, Bill Skarsgård, of course, played Pennywise in the recent adaptation of It. He did a phenomenal job, by the way. But now he's not playing Pennywise. At least it appears that way. Instead, he's playing this other brand new character totally called the Kid. So really, we have to wonder with some of these, with two castmates from It who are now in another Stephen King adaptation. This can't be coincidence, can it? Do they have some type of relation to their characters that they played in It? Is Bill Skarsgård, is this another form that It is taking? The force of nature that is It? I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see, but I certainly am looking forward to it very much. But moving on from them, we have Sissy Spacek, who is playing Ruth Deaver, Henry's adoptive mother who struggles with dementia. She is no stranger to Stephen King works herself, because she played the iconic role of Carrie in Stephen King's Carrie back in the day. That's a very good film. If you haven't seen it, please go watch it right now. But she's in this series, and she's playing a character by the name of Ruth Deaver. Now, it looks like at a certain point that she's in a little bit of trouble. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But I'm very much a big fan of her, so I can't wait to see what they do with her in this TV series. Moving on from her, though, we have Scott Glenn, who's playing the character of Alan Pangborn, the world-weary former sheriff of Castle Rock who is now retired. So Scott Glenn, you probably better remember him as Stick in Daredevil, that's a Netflix series. But the character he's playing has also been played by Ed Harris in another Stephen King adaptation, and that character is, of course, the sheriff in Stephen King's, let me get the title here, that is for Stephen King's Needful Things. Excuse me there. I almost forgot it myself. It's been a while, folks. It's been a while. But yeah, the character is also in Needful Things, so it's good to see that his character is also returning in Castle Rock, of course, played by a different actor, of course, but still, nonetheless, that character has connections to the Stephen King multiverse. Moving on from him, we have Terry O'Quinn as Dale Lacey, the warden of Shawshank State Penitentiary. Not to be confused with this asshole warden, Warden Norton from the Shawshank Redemption movie. No, this is a different warden from Shawshank State Penitentiary. So you probably better remember him as John Locke from Lost, which is, of course, J.J. Abrams produced TV series. Then, of course, J.J. Abrams is, of course, on board for this TV series as well. So it makes sense. You know, it's a little bit of a Lost reunion there. Big fan of his character on Lost. Can't wait to see what they do with him in Castle Rock. Now, finally, the last character I wanted to give a little bit of shine upon was Melanie Linsky as Molly Strand, the owner of a real estate business in Castle Rock with a rare medical condition. Now, I gotta say, you're trying to get in the real estate business in Castle Rock. I gotta say, that's probably a pretty tough gig, seeing as every single house is probably the home of somebody else's nightmares. So good luck with that. But moving on from these characters, now I finally want to get into some of the little nods and Easter eggs to other Stephen King works. So let's go ahead and get started. The very first one that I wanted to touch up on was the a nod to Cujo. As you can see in this newspaper clipping here, it says on the top left that you can get your rabies vaccines for dogs, and of course the main headline says "Rabid Dog tears through town." So that is a nod to Stephen King's Cujo, which is a film about a Saint Bernard who gets bit by a bat with rabies and goes on a tear and terrorizes his mother and her son. So that's a very good film. I wouldn't mind seeing a Cujo reboot, to be totally honest with you. But moving on from Cujo, another nod that we get is Juniper Hill, and we see Juniper Hill mentioned in the actual recent adaptation of Gerald's Game, which you can find on Netflix. Juniper Hill is mentioned in Gerald's Game, and Juniper Hill is also the home of the adult Henry Bowers, who gets put there after he is blamed for the deaths of the little kids that, of course, Pennywise killed back in the 50s, or in the most recent adaptation of it in the 80s. So, yeah, Juniper Hill's getting a little bit of shout out here in this trailer. But speaking of it and Pennywise, we have some other nods here, because as we can see here with these balloons here, yes, the very same balloons that Pennywise the Clown loves using to torment his victims. Yeah, certainly very eerie stuff going on there. And lastly, we have this this sink here where you can see a little bit of blood spilling inside the sinkhole. Now, this, of course, is very reminiscent of the bathroom scene that Beverly has to deal with in the novel and in the It miniseries, and most recently in the It movie, where just a geyser of blood goes up the sinkhole and just splashes and covers the entire bathroom. So that's, of course, a nod to that. But yeah, I think that's all the nods that we have in this trailer. But that's not the only goodness we got in this trailer. No, not by a long shot, because we have some very creepy stuff going on. This was not in the trailer, but this was just something that I wanted to bring into this trailer, was this creepy looking mascot who's just on the top of this building waving hi to somebody. That's just something I don't want to run into. No, thank you, please. Get it out of my face. Another creepy thing that we have here is this man who's standing in this room, who's got his face covered with like some type of bandages. He looks like a mummy. Not something you want to see when you wake up in the middle of the night. Lastly, though, here, or not lastly, but we also have this woman who appears to be committing suicide. She's jumping off this bridge in the middle of the day with all these strangers just looking on as if, oh, yeah, this happens all the time in Castle Rock. You've never been here. Creepy shit like this happens all the time. So, yeah, certainly looking forward to this. Lastly, though, is we have this person here in a mask, this weird mask of sorts, who's standing in front of this pedestal, and they're giving this speech to all these other younger kids who are covered in masks. It actually kind of reminds me a little bit of Stephen King's Children of the Corn. So who knows if we're getting another type of nod to that in Castle Rock. I don't think we get that in the Castle Rock adaptation. So I don't know. That's probably a bit of a stretch. But anyways, it's just a fun, interesting tidbit to think about. So yeah, guys, this has been our Easter eggs that we found in the new Castle Rock trailer. If you're a big fan of Stephen King's work, like It or Castle Rock, or even other horror TV series or movies like the new Chucky TV series, the Stranger Things Netflix series, or even movies like, of course, It, or other scary things going on in the world of movies and TV right now, or if you just like the occasional Marvel or DC or Star Wars video, I do topics relating to that almost weekly. So if you want that type of movie content, if you're into that, go ahead and consider subscribing to Millennial Movies. That's me, this guy right here. But anyways, guys, I will see you all in the next one.